morning, good afternoon, champs. Right now we're going to have an amazing conversation with another TA champion here in the Netherlands, Nuri, and she's going to represent the company Insify, one of the most aggressive scale-ups we have right now in the market. Okay, let's go. Hello, Nuri. How are you? Good to see you. How's everything? How's the day?
Yes.
All good? Amazing?
Well.
Are we on the right time?
Yes. Hi, my name is Nuri, and I'm leading recruitment currently at Insify. Originally, I come from Kyrgyzstan. I was born and raised there. In the last 10-12 years, I've moved around quite a bit between US, Russia, Turkey, and now Netherlands. I really enjoy living here in this beautiful city. I'm really passionate about recruitment, hiring, making companies successful, and on the side, I also really love fashion.
Thank you very much for joining us. I am super excited to get your story for all the people out there. So the first things, I guess, how you came to the Netherlands and how you actually ended up with Insify, which is, I guess, one of the greatest scale-ups we have in the market.
Insify was indeed scaled as one of the 10 best startups in the Netherlands. But back to me. Actually, it's been a long journey. Sometimes I forget how far I've come from a very small town in the south of Kyrgyzstan. And when you say Kyrgyzstan, people don't even know where it is in the map, like on the map.
I know what you feel.
So it's always like, oh yeah, it's a small country, ex-Soviet Union, and then people immediately go, do you speak Russian? And I have to say, yeah, I do. But anyway, yes, I'm from Kyrgyzstan. I was born and raised there. But growing up, I always felt like the world was so much bigger, and I always wanted to get out of it, out of my comfort zone, and explore. And I think after graduating high school, that's where my international journey starts. I had 1 year of an exchange student program in the US that really set me up for that global citizen mindset,
Cool.
if you can call it that. And then after that, I just stumbled upon recruitment. That's what usually happens. And one of my first managers, Nikita, hi Nikita if he's watching it, from Vion, he really set me up for success. He came from an executive search background, and he really tried to give me the best basics. And then as my kind of career went on, I really tried to get as diverse experience as possible. So I went to work at an edtech company, retail, commercial real estate. Then I also worked in a couple of startups. I worked in Getir. With Getir, then I moved. I was living in Russia at the time. I moved to Turkey.
Okay.
And then from there, eventually moved here to the Netherlands.
Okay.
But this was really always my goal. Surprisingly, I came as a very young woman to the Netherlands, to Amsterdam, and I fell in love with the city. I don't know, something in me was telling that you might be really happy here.
Okay.
But you know how when you come from HR background, usually people do not get opportunities for relocation, especially outside Europe and all of that. And I always heard that, yeah, I think it's a long shot to want to move to Europe with your backgrounds. And I always thought, okay, that will be possible, and I will make it possible.
Okay.
And I made it. And all those diverse experiences, all those startup corporate experiences, all shaped who I am as a recruiter. And I was able to get the opportunity at Amco Solutions. That's how they relocated me from Turkey to the Netherlands. I spent 1.5 years with them, and then wanted to go back to a startup world and searched which startups were really making waves and which were doing, or let's say, revolutionizing and really truly disrupting, and Insify was one of them. And that's how I ended up here.
If you need to actually describe yourself in one sentence, what would be that?
Professionally, I would say a recruiter that deeply cares about people and gets shit done.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. True.
As a person outside the job?
I'm a big fashion lover.
Okay.
So along with my Insify journey, I've been doing some courses at the fashion school. I think that's what feeds my soul and gives me that creativity, and I love that. I love that outlet. But also, I'm not someone who hates their job and just cannot get up on Monday morning. I'm really someone who loves to go to the office and really talk to people, do something meaningful, create value. So I also, as equally I love my hobbies, I also really love the job that I'm doing.
What is the one thing what everybody does in the recruitment right now, but you completely disagree with this practice?
I disagree with the practice of culture fit as a vibe check.
Okay.
And looking at my Insify experience, I really admire how we do hiring here, even before I joined. Insify always had the values-driven recruitment stage where we would go very deep into each one of those values, and we would measure it, and we would look at the real examples. And that's how the company was building real culture in the company, an aligned culture, people that cared about entrepreneurship, people that were making impact, gritty people, hardworking people, people that care about each other, about the customer. So I know that some companies, they leave the culture fit to some kind of intuition check or like a vibe check. You don't really measure it. You just, after you hang up with a candidate, you kind of feel, oh yeah, I feel like they could be a culture fit. But I think you should define that culture first. What is your culture in that company? And then you measure it. And you measure it in the very beginning so that you save time of doing hard decisions, rejections later.
Exactly. But
Yeah.
is it even possible to measure the culture?
First, you need to define what is culture, right?
Okay.
Culture, for example, at Insify, culture is hiring really hardworking people that are very high on ownership, that solve problems, take ownership, deeply care about other people, about the customer, and that drive results. So that is our culture. Like there's a job description, of course, but this is how we show up for each other. This is how we show up for the customer.
Insify way, in a way.
Insify way. Because we've defined it, because we know what good looks like for each of those values, then we can easily measure it.
Okay.
We can easily measure it on the recruiter screen. We can easily measure it, have a rubric at the hiring manager screen where
Okay.
we look into those things.
Okay.
So for us, we would rather hire based on the values fit and compromise maybe on a couple of skills and give that person a chance to brush those skills up.
Okay.
But I know that some companies have it other way around. For them, what's on paper is more important, education is important, years of experience is important. But I think we should look beyond that. We should look at the actual human being and what values they bring to the table.
Hiring for potential.
Also that, especially startups. I think startups are really, you hire a lot of high potential young people that really want to build something out of themselves and careers.
How many people are working right now at Insify?
I think about 65, close to 70.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
We then ambitiously want to stay lean as possible. And this is one of the things that I really thought it was smart when I was interviewing with Insify, that we really wanted to stay lean. Because I worked in startups where we would get the VC money, we would overhire, then the numbers weren't great, that we would do massive layoffs, and it would lead to a huge disappointment.
exactly.
And I've also done a study on the layoffs while doing my master's, and I found out that a lot of the companies that do massive layoffs, a year later they're at the same spot because the productivity has gone low and people's morale has gone low, and there's nothing great happening there.
Exactly, and then you need to somehow re-motivate them again. No.
Yeah.
I completely agree. And the reason I was asking about how many employees right now you have, do you see the difference in the company culture today in comparison with the moment you started to work at Insify?
I love this question because we were doing a workshop yesterday with the leadership team about, we were aligning how we want to hire this year and what do we want to prioritize. And we realized that while we were discussing the scorecards and what we're looking for, what good looks like, I noticed that there was a clear difference between what good looked like a year ago when I joined and now versus now. It was clearly the bar has gone higher, what I noticed. Because we want to stay as lean as possible, we don't want to make compromises with maybe hires. We really want to make sure we find people that know how startups operate. They're hungry for this type of job. They're really tired of doing maintenance jobs. They want to build something. They want to own things and also be in line with our values, of course. And that is the market of people I find very small in the Netherlands. So really high potential, really hungry people that want to build amazing stuff. Because usually when you have those values, you're probably thinking of building something yourself. And that's when you're competing for the attention of that person between them doing their own thing and coming to work for you and support your vision.
Okay.
Yeah.
But is it still possible to get those people? How is it going?
Yeah.
Because you are the one who's getting all of those people.
It is possible.
Okay.
It is possible, but what I realized is that you should be very, very clear, crystal clear in the very beginning with all of the stakeholders that are in the hiring process on who are we looking for. And you make that messaging very clear in the job description. You're very clear about which person is going to win here in the recruitment screen. So being very, very clear instead of just sugarcoating, and then later there were sometimes we would go not as strict on some of the maybe hires, and then they would end up at an interview with the CEO and he would be like, yeah, are we sure this is what good looks like? So I think it's very important to be clear in the early stages and tell people.
And obviously be clear means that you need to challenge enough all the stakeholders in the beginning of the process so you can get to this accuracy of the profile. Okay.
Saying no. Saying no a lot.
Okay.
And asking good questions. What I realized in some of my previous experiences, what was missing is that I would see how a recruitment team would be seen as kind of an overhead, kind of a team that is purely execution. And I think that's faulty thinking, because recruiters are actually people that make you successful, that the company is successful. They bring people that will bring you new customers, that will build you new products, that will rework your growth strategy, etc., etc. It doesn't matter. And I think there should be a very close alignment between the recruitment team and the leadership team, be it C-level or the CEO or the, direct managing director level.
Okay.
Because recruiters need to be aligned on where the company is going to be able to hire not just for right now, but also think long term, what kind of teams we're building, what kind of people we're bringing for things that we're going to do 2 years from now, 3 years from now. So I think, recruitment should be in the right rooms.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think you also hear the news, the crazy news, such as Meta is getting another person for 250 mil. It's like a football star, you know, and this is just the engineer who graduated 4 years ago.
Wow.
And maybe a bit crazy question, but still, do you believe that it can be the day when some company will hunt for talent acquisition leader from another company and pay millions for that? And if yes, what would be the cost of that transfer?
Wow. I mean, football teams buy trainers for really big money, and I think it could be the same thing with really good recruiters. We can build those winning star teams. I think that could be possible, but I think it really takes a good leader, a company leader, CEO, to really understand how hiring is important. I'm so lucky that in this company, our CEO really understands how hiring is important. For him, it's one of the important things where he dedicates regularly time. But that might not be the case for every company. But I hope that, we get to that stage where recruiters will be valued as they should be valued.
Okay. Let's say there is a talent acquisition leader, and the cost of that person is 25 mil just to get that person to your company. I'm not talking about even the salary. Yeah. What type of experience, qualities, or combination of all of the things should be in that person that someone will pay 25 mil today?
Tough question. I think that person needs to balance fast execution with really clear strategic thinking. So they need to understand, they need to have a track record, of course, of going into messy companies or not so performing teams and getting them from 0 to 1 and having that track record of really building great teams, and also have to be really innovative. I think if we're talking about the future, I think the TA is going to be transforming every day. And I think by that point, that person definitely is not going to be someone operating off of Excel sheets and black notebooks and calling people. They will have really cool innovation at their palms of their hands to really enable their judgments, their strategic thinking.
Okay. I like that angle. If the company, let's say you have the money from the VC, whatever, you're Series B, Series C, and then you need people obviously to grow, and there is one person out there, like super mega star, who can actually even pay whatever you need to pay, but then that person will bring you all the right people so the company can grow. Why not? Like, I'm okay to pay any amount of money, right? Yeah. Okay, that would be cool.
Well, because
we're mixing the football with the talent acquisition a bit, but still, it's cool.
I'm a big fan of bringing that sports allegory to hiring and building companies, because I really despise the we're a family dynamic, because you're never a family in the workplace. You're a sports team because everybody brings their strong suits, and together you make something.
Exactly.
So why not?
Okay, so you mentioned your CEO already. You said that the person is very much focused on the hiring as well as one of the highest priorities in the company and obviously in his agenda. But let me picture one situation. Not necessarily going to like it, but I would love to get your answer on
Okay.
that. So your CEO came to you and obviously made the decision already, nothing to discuss, and said like, Nuri, we are cutting the budget twice and we are increasing the hiring goals twice. What would be one thing you can easily change, do already, and what is the one thing you would defend at all costs?
So my team needs to become twice as small, so cutting which budget?
Money budget, so which means that the headcount, salaries, if you are hiring, I don't know, recruitment agencies, then those budgets as well, the technology tools.
And then the hiring goals are the same?
No, twice higher.
Oh, twice. Okay, wow.
It's a pickle.
Impossible mission. Yeah, I think I would really cut on the unnecessary things that we might be using, like agencies. You can always cut on the agency, of course. If you're using some, I don't know, employer branding agency, things like that. So would cut on things that you would survive without, like nice to haves, but I would never compromise on having a really good hiring bar and maybe a couple of really good senior recruiters that can really make right call, good judgments, and build those teams.
Okay.
And if the budget is being cut, then what I mentioned earlier, we look at the high potential junior people, and let's just get them excited and hire them and give them the space to grow into whatever they need to do. And it's okay if we're not hiring executives from big companies. It's okay. I think we can still. What I believe is more teachable is the technical skills rather than the internal motivation and the values and the culture fits that the person can bring. That I would not compromise on.
Thanks for that.
But it was a difficult question, I must say. I hope I don't have to live through this experience.
Let's hope for that. Okay. What is the biggest challenge you observe in 2026 in the talent acquisition space?
Before we answer, should we change locations?
That's the last question for this location.
Okay.
And then we're going.
Yep, good.
Repeat the question.
Yeah, what is the biggest challenge you observe in the talent acquisition space right now we're having in 2026?
I think there's a lot of noise, a lot of it, with different tools, with different automations, and I think sometimes we can get that decision fatigue, and as TA leaders, we sometimes get too focused on the process, and we're trying to perfect the process, and we sometimes forget which value we're actually creating. We're hiring the right people that are really moving the company forward and amplifying it. So I would say that, improve things operationally, but always keep your eyes on the value creation as a TA leader. Don't compromise on hiring the right people and the good people, and do it fast. What I'm realizing now, companies that have really long 7 or 6, 7 stages, they're often late to even have the chance to present an offer, because the other person already, in 1 week, they reached the offer stage. So I think that's also, important.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what is the biggest challenge in your company when it comes to recruitment?
Yeah, hiring people for the values fit. It is the most difficult thing, and it's the most it's the most important thing, and it's the most difficult thing, because oftentimes we've made mistakes. We've had hires that were a little bit more maybe, not just in Insify, in my previous companies, when you look at the person and you think, okay, they have amazing experience, but regarding their soft skills, making the right trade-offs, navigating ambiguity, and just being someone who can make the right calls in the stressful situations. Yeah, you would compromise on that, but then it would cost you a critical project, or it would cost you some poor managed conflicts or moments with other teams, and then it just affects, and then you have to say goodbye to that person, and then it also affects the morale of the rest of the company. So all in all, bad hires really cost a lot. So we cannot afford to really give chance to maybe hires, which is why we need to be very clear on what are we measuring and what is important.
But what bad hire actually taught you? And maybe one of the most, like one example which actually comes to your mind immediately.
Right. Yeah, this happened a few times when I was quite early in my career because back then I was only learning, and there were times where I could have pushed for no, but then I didn't. And then bad hires ended up in the company, and then we regret it altogether.
Okay.
But usually what can go really wrong with bad hires is that you over-index on the skills education and the pedigree and their backgrounds, and you again fail to check on the soft skills. And I think soft skills are really, really important. I cannot really remember, and I don't think I should be talking about those examples on record, but
No need to mention the names.
no names, but there were times when the person would just not get along with the team,
Okay.
not be a team, well, yeah, as I said, the team, but also communication-wise was just not checked into how you work in that certain company,
Okay.
even though they're perfect on paper, like you cannot argue with their backgrounds, but also they're just not successful because they're not getting through to people, because they're not managing stakeholders. And that's how, from that, you learn that, okay, not just what's on paper is important, it's how they talk and how they deal with conflict, how they make others successful, how they give critical feedback. All of that is important.
Okay. If we can get a bit practical with you right now, yeah? And I really like that straight up. I'm not sure about this one. Because obviously we say that we need to really get this culture DNA matched, because that's important. But then the question, in practicality, how exactly you're doing? Okay, you know what is good look like in your company, but how exactly you're going to check or assess that in the candidate?
So if we look at the process, I think when you see their CV,
Okay.
first you look for track record. You see if they worked in similar environments,
Okay.
and how they describe their experience in terms of their CV. I know how people say cover letters are outdated. I think maybe, but I always read the cover letters of people,
Okay.
and that also gives me certain signals. And then also when you talk to the person, really digging into the examples, looking for proof. That's where, when you're a very highly intuitive person, you need to keep yourself accountable and look for proof of that intuition or the judgment based on intuition.
Okay.
And also that assessment on the values and culture should not just stop with you, and then the hiring manager also should be aligned and also check on their ends during the conversation. Yeah, I think in the end, every person who has any type of decision-making power in the recruitment process, they all need to be aligned that we want to hire people not just for skills but for the values as well, because that's when you can make a right call. Yeah.
So basically identifying it in the beginning, as you said, what good looks like, and after that is just keep validating it. First, you're doing it based on the CV, cover letter, but also all the intuition you might have, and obviously getting enough proof and justification for that. And all the hiring managers along the way, in each interview and each step, they also need to keep validating it again and again.
Yeah, exactly.
Is it possible to hire 100 people per year by having only one TA person in 2026?
Are you daring me right now?
A bit.
Wow. I think that's nearly impossible. But let me think. If you use some help, maybe could be possible. But I don't know. I just would not put my name on that type of mission, to be honest, because it doesn't align with my own personal values of really hiring people, not just fast tracking, but really making intentional hires about every person.
Okay.
With my mindset, that would be almost an impossible challenge. But if we're talking about like volume hiring, you're opening stores, that's definitely possible.
Okay.
Because that's where you focus only on two, three important things, that they can drive a car or they speak certain language. That is possible. But to really make quality, intentional hires, I think that's I don't want to say impossible, but it's like too ambitious.
Okay. You would
But-
love to give a bit more time and quality to those
Yeah.
hires, obviously. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, but do you know anybody who's done that or wants to do that?
From some people, I'm getting the answer. It is possible. Not necessarily they are doing it exactly like 100 per year, but
Yeah.
I think we're getting there.
Okay.
Again, the industries are different. Yeah.
Yeah.
The challenges are different, so we cannot copy paste it easily. But okay. Nuri, you've been like in all the communities events. You had a great network of all the talent acquisition leaders here. You know them, you hear them. What is the one thing they're all getting wrong
Wow.
when it comes to recruitment?
You really want to pit me against them, right? No.
Just be honest.
I feel like I might be repeating myself, but I sometimes find that pitfall in my own thinking, which is over-indexing on the process sometimes. Yeah, when something breaks, I start to look into the process. Were we doing things right? Like, did we have enough stages? But my reflection on that was, yeah, okay, process only helps you to make the right judgment about each candidate. So process just helps you, but you always have to coach your team to really make tough calls and hard judgments in the early stages of the process, and trust themselves to make the right call and make less of the, oh, I guess the vibes are okay, let's just put them to the case interview. So there's that. And also another thing that I would mention, probably the AI haze, right?
Okay.
Last year, I probably went to maybe 3 meetups that were talking about AI.
Okay.
And at one point, it just started to feel like we're talking about the same thing, and we're repeating things that we heard before.
Okay.
Anyway, what I'm trying to say on that is AI should help you make a decision rather than you outsource the decision making to AI. And I know it's tempting to use AI to rank CVs, for example. I would not really trust AI to do that yet, because the emotional intelligence is not there with AI, and social skills, AI doesn't have it. So don't outsource your decision making on AI, but use it to help you make better decisions, make quicker decisions, perhaps.
I also talk a lot to the executives, to the CEO of the companies, C-level, finance heads, and I'm keep getting, almost like in a 90% of the times, I'm keep getting the vibe that, okay, you know what, our recruitment is just a cost center. We don't feel a lot of value from those people.
Yeah.
in which extent do you agree with this, and why it's still the case in their mind?
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of executives think that way because if we look at the layoff pace of 2021, 2022, a lot of the TA people were out, laid off. So I think that's still, the case. I guess it's easier to fire people that bring new people in.
Cruel, but yeah.
But yeah, I don't see a point in arguing with those executives. I think they just need to, if I were interviewing with one of those executives, I would say, okay, I believe you believe that, but give me a chance and I'm going to prove you wrong. And I've done that multiple times in my career.
Okay.
Where I fixed the hiring bar and made everybody aligned and hired the right people that we're really excited about. And I saved company quite some money by bringing people that are amplifying not just the job that they do, they're actually making other people successful.
Okay.
So I think that's possible, but there's no point in arguing. You just have to show in action, let's say.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So it is about showing value.
Yeah. Yeah, value creation. Like, I know how there's a sentiment that HR is not important, HR doesn't get a seat at the table, recruitment is part of HR, etc., etc. But most of the people that I really look up to and really trust, TA leaders, I mean, they're the ones that were brought into whatever companies they were co-building in the very early stages, directly worked with founders, and they directly contributed to making the company, like the launches of new countries successful, launching of new products really successful. So in my network, I think I've seen a lot of examples where TA can really be a very respected function that, participates in very important discussions about where the company is going to go, where we're going to invest, which teams we should downsize, etc.
I like it.
But I think that only happens once you've done the value creation and you've
Yeah.
proved a couple of times.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it should be based on the bright example. Okay, Nuri, I'm very curious about the future as well. So that's also the reason why I'm asking some people exactly the next question. HR/TA, it will go through the optimization a lot in the coming years. For sure, we can say that it's not going to happen, but I guess there is a high chance that it's going to happen. So from that perspective, can we see the merging of two positions, which is the HR business partner and the talent acquisition partner?
Yeah.
And if so, what talent acquisition people need to bring to the table or learn or upskill themselves to be ready for that?
You may be looking at an example, actually.
Okay, tell me.
I mean, I joined Insify as a recruiter, and I think I've proven a track record there. And then eventually, the gap I noticed was that recruiters are really good at bringing the right people in, but then it's just the way HR works. You kind of step out of the process and you leave it to the other person to take care of the onboarding journey, the performance management.
Okay.
And at Insify here, I really am grateful for the opportunity of the leadership gave me to step out of my recruiter shoes and optimize the onboarding process. I've been able to build a probation framework, a very lightweight system where we make a call at the end of the probation if it was a good hire or not. So I think it's really going that direction where recruitment partners also take ownership of their hires life cycle beyond the point that they were hired. I think we're really going that direction. I know I am. I really like the value I'm creating, not just by bringing that person in, but also organizing a really good onboarding for them, setting them up for success, and really making sure that we're unlocking their really good skills, we're using the feedback we got through reference checks, and embedding all of that intelligence we have on that person during their employee life cycle.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think,
I love it.
it's really fun.
Yeah, and I think it's possible, and you're the great example of that.
Yeah.
But I also get a lot of skeptical comments like, yeah, it's just two different things, and we don't think that it's going to be merged, and I think it's all about just upskilling a bit here and there, and everything's possible.
Yeah.
We might be wrong.
Yeah, we don't
But
know.
we might
We'll
be
have
right.
to see. We'll have to resume the conversation maybe in 1 or 2 years.
Yeah.
But I think recruitment partners, they're really good persons, right?
Yeah.
And that can help other people be successful. And really
Exactly.
set them up for success.
It's been a huge pleasure for me to have this conversation with you. Thanks for saying yes. But we still have a game to play.
Yes.
It's a very simple game. Rock, scissors, paper. If you win, you will get one of the super cool merch we have. But you need to choose umbrella or hoodie. Hoodie. Okay.
Fashion girl, more
That's
clothes.
You count. You count
No,
on
you
three.
count. I'm focusing on my
Okay.
strategies.
Okay. So on three then. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, 1-0. Okay. 1, 2, 3. 1, 1.
1-1.
Okay. 1, 2, 3. Okay. 2, 1.
Well,
I need one more. That's
yes,
it.
Okay.
Whenever you're ready, Chan.
Okay.
1,
1, 2, 3. 2-2.
2, 2. Ooh.
Okay.
1, 2, 3. That's it. You won, Chan.
Yes.
Congrats.
Woo.
You're gonna get the hoodie
Okay.
next week already.
Awesome.